Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fan.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, and you are in the Java Cafe. It is Testimony Tuesday, and so we are going to hear a testimony from a good brother that's in community, showing other community. He's creating some dialogues around a space that I'm going to introduce to y'all soon around IPAs and beers and brewery. He's in partnership also. I hosted an event at Long Live Roxbury, and so it's been a while trying to get him on, but we're glad to have him on this morning in the person of Mr. Collin Knight. He is the CEO and founder of Live Like a Local Tours Boston. I almost said Roxbury, but Live Like a Local Tours Boston. Brother Collin, what's up, sir?
What's up, my brother? Thank you so much for having me today.
It is good to see you in the room. Good to see you in the room. It's taken a minute to get you here. I'm glad, and that's on my end. I'm glad to finally have you here, man. And so some folks are familiar with what you do, and we'll get into that in a minute, but I want to hear a little bit about you because I think that'll inform this focus that you do on bringing the rich history and a lot of the culture here in Boston to folks that come from out of town. I would presume and see just by observation, there is a focus on acknowledging the Black and brown contributions when folks come to this area. So I'll shut up, say good morning to the folks, greet them, and we want to know who is calling.
Right. Good morning. Good morning to everybody out there. Thank you so much for having me again, my brother. Yeah, so Live Like a Local Tours is a neighborhood tour company, and we give
No. You went right to the work. Who's calling?
Me.
Yes,
Collin
I know
is
but let's what's your story, man? Let's get into that.
So I think my story is I think that I've had a tremendous amount of pride for just coming from Roxbury. That's where I grew up my entire life. And everything that I've been doing has been based in community. And so, I spent a lot of time working within the Boston Public Schools, worked for a local nonprofit that really taught theater skills or life skills through theater. And I think that that's kind of what brought me to where I am today, as far as like using this tour company to kind of support community. A lover of theater, used to be an actor. So spent some time in New York City. But pursuing the acting career, and that was a really great experience for me, and I think really built my confidence to do what I'm doing today. I think getting a chance to leave the city of Boston was really a great opportunity and experience for me, just to kind of find myself. So coming back home with that newfound confidence and belief in myself that I could do anything I put my mind to, I think has really helped me.
Okay, I can definitely agree. I called myself getting out of here. You sound like you stayed longer. I left in November, and I was back by the 1st of April. I was living. So, what part of New York were you in?
All over, man. Really, I spent time in East Harlem. Spent time way up in the Bronx, like they would call Connecticut, 231st, and street like
you were way up there.
And then I spent some time in Washington Heights too, as well. So lived a few different places. I didn't get a chance to live in Brooklyn, but pretty much everywhere else while I was out there. I was out there for about 5 or 6 years. So.
Okay, I was in Bed-Stuy, man, and it was a business innovative district, so it was going through AKA gentrification. But jazz club like right downstairs, and I mean in December I put on a shirt, pair of pants, and went right downstairs. Jazz club, good food, good drinks, and so hopefully something like that will come here. But mine was only 6 months. How long were you there?
Yeah, so about 5 or 6 years. Yeah, so I was there for a while.
Oh, so you had the whole experience. I just had 6 months, and I came back to Boston, and I was like, this isn't going to work. You go from leaving the house at 12:30 at night to almost getting ready to last call it 12:30 here in Boston. So anyway,
that's right.
Definitely an experience. And so surprised to hear about the theater piece. It's always interesting. You see people in community, you think you know them by what you see them doing, and then you come in spaces like this and find out you're an actor. And so how did that transition into, as you were getting ready to say, as you started off with the business, how did that transition into what you're doing now? And that's just one of the things as far as the tour company.
Yeah, right. It's a great question. So in being an actor, you had to have a bunch of odd jobs, and so I ended up, doing a lot of background work on different shows. Doing some
What's
stuff.
some of the shows?
So we had Nurse Jackie, Boardwalk Empire were a couple of shows that I did background work. So I always say if you pause it, you can see me walking by as an orderly or a nice three-piece suit with a nice haircut.
Okay, man.
I did some stuff on SNL too. So, like some of those like video pieces. So, I had a little bit of here and there,
Cool.
just Broadway stuff. So it was cool. I think it was a great experience. But in those odd jobs, I ended up working for a tour company out there.
Okay.
And that's kind of how, I started thinking about, well, if I came back to Boston, maybe I could start my own tour company. Seeing what he was doing and seeing that he had his own website, how he's attracting people from all over the country and all over the world. Like that's kind of what kind of gave me the idea when I came back to Boston. So
Okay. And so when did you start? How long? Tell us like the beginning. What was the beginning like?
the beginning of working for the tour company
Yeah.
or
Or starting it.
starting it, man.
Yours.
So yeah, I felt like, we think about Boston, like, there's a real Eurocentric narrative, right? That exists here in the city.
That's a nice way to frame it.
And man, I'm just trying to be it's a very nice way to put it, but yeah, so it gets glorified a lot. And so I figured I need to be able to tell my own story as somebody who came from Roxbury, to tell my own narrative as a Black man living in this city. What does that look like? And so in everything that I had been doing over the last 20 years that was based in community, I wanted my tour company to be based in communities of color. And then I was trying to figure out, well, what could I do to support the community? And the next thing that came to me was like, what could I do to support the local businesses in the community, right? Because I was like, okay, I could do a food tour, I could do a culture tour. And then the history point, part of it came to me as well. And so I started thinking about that food, history, and culture thing, and like being able to provide some of the layered history of each of these neighborhoods as well. And so that's kind of how it came to me. It's like figuring out like, how can I continue that, narrative of like supporting community? Because I had been doing that within the Boston Public Schools as a paraprofessional, and also working with that theater company, nonprofit, for a number of years too. So I was like, how do I transition into becoming an entrepreneur in this tour company and connecting that to community as well?
So let me ask you that. That's a good segue into what has it been like as being a Black man in Boston, moving in entrepreneurship? Like, what was that transition like? Because I'll be real, there is one benefit of working for somebody else. You know that every Friday or every Thursday, every 2 weeks or every 7 days, you get a guaranteed certain amount of income. Being an entrepreneur, bro, especially, my thought was like, what's the winter like for you? But we'll get to that in a minute. So what was the transition like for you? And you can speak to, starting things in Boston is interesting.
Yeah, it was tough for sure.
Yep.
I think leaving my job in 2019 and deciding I'm going to start this tour company without like having, with, if you will, a nest egg, like to kind of support you, was tough. I think my wife was not very happy about that in the beginning, because everything kind of fell on her. But I really truly believe that this is like was my calling, and I really like wanted to do this, and so I was willing to sacrifice, some of the things that I was able to do, like extra nights out to restaurants, maybe even having a couple extra cable shows, like I had to cut things out, and again, it did put a strain on my family, but I really believed in doing this, and I really believed that I wanted to make an impact on my community. And so I didn't know what I was going to do next or how much money I was going to be able to make. But I just believed that I was gonna find a way, and definitely got some support from family members. A big shout out to my brother, who was, a huge supporter of me in the beginning stages in the first couple of years, just trying to keep me afloat, so my wife didn't kill me. And then, just really believing in me, because he's an entrepreneur himself. And so he really helped to like kind of stabilize me while I figured out, what was going to be, kind of my staple, within the tour company. So, but yeah, it was tough. I'm not going to lie. And
the pandemic hit.
And then the pandemic hit, and that was real tough. And it's a great segue because obviously I wasn't going to make any money doing tours. There were no tour companies doing anything.
Yeah.
But what I did is like that aspect of community still came back to me. And even though I wasn't going to make any money, I just started to put, these restaurants that I wanted to create relationships with. I started just, using my social media platforms, going to those restaurants and saying, hey, you can't dine in, but you can get takeout. Plating the food, putting it on my social media platforms. If you look back on my Instagram, you'll see plated food from different restaurants within the community. And I believe it was a time when they really needed that, because, and, I was, growing my platform to not, to the point where it wasn't just people within the community that was seeing it. There were people from outside of the community that was seeing it. And it became that thing of like, you need to support these local businesses or they're going to die out. And so I started doing that. And that's how I was able to kind of build relationships. So when things opened up again, they kind of knew who I was and like what my mission was and what I was trying to do to kind of support them.
That is interesting. You left your job in 19 and started. I left in 19 and then started in, 2020 because of COVID. And so there's definitely a similarity there. One of the references you made was trying to find your staple. Dude, you found the staple, like based on the pics and stuff I see on social media. Most recently, you either have a relationship or had hosted the brewery, Black Brewery Diaries. Why am I saying, is it Diaries?
It's Black Brew Dialogues. Yeah.
Dialogue. That's where
Black Brew Dialogues.
It must be one of them daggone shows. And so you've definitely found your staple. Talk about from beginning to now, to where things are now, like you're sought after. If there are events coming in town, like did you get any hits from March Madness?
Not really. But I think that's what we're growing towards. And I think for Black Brew Dialogues in just 2024, I've been really thinking about what does it look like to collaborate and show people, like you wanted me to talk about myself in the beginning instead of giving
now you're going
company pitch. Well, so I love craft beer, and that's something that people don't.
What is it? Can you explain to me? And Jessica will get me because I'm supposed to go sit with her and Brian and figure this out. But
so craft beer is anything other than domesticated beer that you get in the liquor store for the most part. When I say that, Coronas, Heinekens, things that are shipped all over the country, right? Private stock. Hey, we can go there too. But these microbreweries that are popping up in these communities are making their beer fresh, right? And so I think that's what, the last 10, 15 years I had gotten into that, after the era of private stock and St. Ides and those things. And I got introduced to like, beer on the tap, and microbreweries. And so I became a lover of craft beer and wanted to get involved within the culture. And, what's really interesting for me is like, Black people within the brewery culture, it's kind of like not really a thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like walking into a brewery like that's kind of like mostly an all white space. So I'm kind of like a unicorn, I don't really care that, maybe the space isn't as welcoming for me personally. But Black Brew Dialogues is about making sure that people within communities of color, these breweries are popping up all over these neighborhoods now. I want to create a platform to make sure that they feel welcome in these spaces because they're in our neighborhoods. And so I want to like throw events and collaborate with people who are already doing great things and have them in those spaces and introduce people to craft beer because a lot of people don't know like what is that, and like I don't drink beer, and so just trying to get people interested in the culture and making them feel welcomed as well. So that's what Black Brew Dialogues is about. And so throughout this year, we're going to throw a number of different events. We work with Hella Black Trivia. Shout out to Jeff and Pops, for allowing me to collaborate with them. And then I also did a panel discussion, talking to, people within the culture, from different mediums. And so it's been, great, in 2024, just trying to build these collaborations. And I've been watching all of these great people like you, obviously Hella Black Trivia, Boston Wild Black, all of these people are doing great things. And I'm just trying to get in where I fit in and try to figure out how I can contribute and also, be of value too. And so it's just been a really great year in that sense. It's just kind of learning how can I build my following in a different way other than live like a local. There are other things that I want to do. And so just trying to show a little bit more of myself. I think that my social media platforms are really about business. And I really don't show a lot of like who Collin Knight is, which is why I love that you asked that you. So I'm trying to open up a little bit more to my fan base and to say, hey, I'm not just a tour guide. There are lots of things that I want to do as a community ambassador for communities of color in the Boston area. So
I wanted to just jump over to Instagram real quick. We have some folks, as you're mentioning, Roxbury, Teak, Well-Being, warm greetings from Roxbury, Collin, Live Like a Local Tourist, Boston. Also, Peas and Love. I think that's Jamie by some chance, but this is fire, highlighting the best of Boston and history is Malcolm X highlighted on the tour. And so let's jump back to that for a second. It's so interesting. You mentioned Boston While Black. Some would presume that if you're from here, you may not need to take the tour. What will people from out of town and even people from Boston see on the tour? And the reference I made to Boston While Black is in the context. I've been in Boston when I joined. I think I was 49 maybe. And folks would presume I'm connected. Yo, being a member of Boston While Black, there's some connections and stuff that I've made that are crazy. And so that point of reference comes from the fact that just because you're from here, you should not automatically be like, good business, bro. I'll tell my family when they come. Folks from here can learn some things. So in that vein of the question, what do you get when you go on a tour? Can you customize it? Let's talk about the tour in case summer's coming. Mother's Day is coming. People are coming into town. Graduation is coming. People are coming into town. Y'all make sure that we get this brother some business. I'm going to put the website up in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think locals, including myself, I had to teach myself about the history in 2019. So I spent a couple of years learning about the layered history of the area. Like when we think about just Roxbury specifically, there's a layered history that exists there. It's not just about African Americans. Obviously, Indigenous and Native American people were here first.
Yep.
And then we have Europeans coming into the area. And then in the 1960s or so, then African Americans start to come into the community, right? And so on my tours, I'm very mindful to talk about that layered history and not to just talk about, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, but also talking about the other figures that maybe people in our generation may not know about, the Ruth Bassons, the Elma Lewises, the Melnia Casses, where you see their names up or you see Melnia Cass's name on the street, but you have no idea what she contributed to not only the Roxbury community, but the city of Boston. Yes, right. Sir. And so we're talking about all of those figures. We're also talking about the present too. We're talking about, all of the local organizations that exist, all the local businesses that exist here, in their stories too. Like, you may know Tropical Foods, but maybe you don't know their story and like how that actually started.
Used to be over in Tropical. Where were they originally?
That's High Low, but Tropical Foods was always in Nubian Square.
I was getting ready to say High Low, but because so you get that the fact that you got that point of reference, and I didn't even finish the thought. Go ahead.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, so those are I think there are a lot of local things, that people don't really realize, like, and that they'll get on this tour. And so they'll know a lot of things. They'll know some of the businesses, right? They'll know some of those names, but do they know specific facts about those people? And have they made connections to, things that are important to today, right? Like, the ABCD program, Melnia Cass was on that board and one of the first women that were on that board, the Freedom House, she was connected to that. And also the Snowden family, when we think about recreation centers, that, we didn't have in our area in Roxbury and Grove Hall that didn't exist before them. They created that. All those recreation centers were downtown. And so there are all of these really great fun facts, about, this specifically Roxbury and Dorchester, Jamaica Plain as well. And so I think that that's what I can provide. Even if you're a local, I would venture to say there are certain things that you didn't know, because there were certain things that I didn't know, and I grew up in Roxbury. So when I think about the local aspect or the local customer, there are things that I feel like I can teach them if they were willing to, to let me host them on a tour.
So let me ask that a specific question I asked a few minutes ago. Can people customize a tour? Can they ask, I want to see Roxbury. I want to see Dorchester. I want to see Beacon Hill because there's a rich Black history
Absolutely.
down on Beacon Hill in the transition, man, please. Okay. I might need to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they can absolutely customize the tour. There's a place on my website where you can go and basically say, hey, this is what I'd like to do specifically, whether you just want to see art, whether you just want to do a foodie tour, or if you want to go to Beacon Hill and see the Museum of African American History on Joy Street, right? We can go and do that as well. And they also have their own tours that they do as well, but I can put together and curate a tour for just about any part of the city for the most part. But I mainly like to focus on communities of color in the Boston area because I feel like they don't get their just due, and those are kind of the hidden gems or less traveled areas. And so I, kind of stay away from the North End and Chinatown. They're already getting what they need. Tourists already know about those places. And so for me, it's really about communities of color and making sure that I can circulate dollars in those communities.
All right. I was going to go a different way, but that's a good segue into just acknowledging the fact that there is an economic impact that Live Like a Local Tours Boston has, because in addition to teaching the history, I don't know what you do for transportation to get folks to and from. If they're walking, are you working with a transportation company? Then they got to eat. So you're taking them somewhere to where they're spending money to eat. And so I just want to, I presume that you're also having an economic impact, particularly in Black and brown areas because of where you're going.
Yeah, and I think thank you for saying that. And it's not as much as I would like, but I think I'm building the model.
Why isn't it how much as how much you would like? And then how do we help you get as much as you would like?
I think because, I need to do more tours. Like there needs to be more traction and more people coming through these communities and considering these communities tourist destinations, right? The more people, the more dollars that get circulated. And I think that how people can help me is really word of mouth. Spread the word. You have people coming in town. You're sitting in your offices and you hear that, somebody's parents or somebody's family's coming into town. I would just really appreciate for people to recommend me because, as much as, marketing as I can do on my own and with my team, word of mouth is always going to be the number one way to get the word out. And so while I don't have the money to, in the marketing dollars to put it up on billboards all over the city just yet, the people and my people can help and support in that way, just by spreading the word and talking about the tour. And just saying, hey, this is a way that you can see Boston in from a different perspective.
So one of the things that come to mind is, please, after this, shoot Anissa an email and make sure that I don't know if it's too late. Someone reached out to me about, because, Estella's Grace and whatnot, they reached out to get information, get connected for the marathon. And so I don't know if they've already got the stuff out, but at least getting your information over. There's a Black Unicorns event on Saturday, which is basically, if you're familiar at RCC, it's kind of interesting trying to make it happen. But today's Tuesday. If folks are coming for the marathon, but if they come in early, if we can just get some information out around the marathon, there are other events. A Mother's Day and graduation weekend is coming up. We just want to help spread the word about what it is you're doing. If you can do me a favor, type it. Now, the website I had earlier, I know we wanted to use a video. He has a new video, but my tech is just acting. So I can't get it in the format that it needs to be. But the site that I got that video from, is that the right site? Because I can put that in the comments. We've hyperlinked.
Yeah, that's the right site.
Okay. We've hyperlinked your Instagram as well. And so my brain is just running. And then are you connected with like Neat Boston? Also,
I am.
Okay,
yeah.
great. With
Helena has been great.
Yeah,
and Martha Sheridan's been great. Yeah. So they've been super, and when we think about spreading the word, on a world scale, writers that are coming from all over the country will come and do private tours with me and do write-ups. So Helena's been absolutely incredible. She's a huge support to me, and so is Martha. So yeah, they've been doing a great job. I mean, thinking about being on these travel shows, traveling with Danella and Samantha Brown, like these are like, worldwide shows that, are kind of, putting Roxbury on the map. Cause I don't feel like it's really about Live Like a Local. It's about me saying, hey, Roxbury is a place to be, a place to go. My goal, like, I'm biased, but it's to really put Roxbury on the map. People around the world know about Harlem, right? Like I want that, for people to know about Roxbury around the world the same way, because we have the same type of rich history that exists in that community. And so, that's where I'm at. It's my most popular tour, and that's probably for a reason. It's because, I have so much love for that community, and so much pride for it. So yeah. But this has been, it's been great. And it's not to say that I haven't been getting support, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm not trying to push that narrative at all.
No, not at all. We can always use more support, brother.
Yes, we could.
The one with the line with the S through it too, but go ahead.
Yes, that would be helpful too. That would be helpful too. Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that we just highlighted that you talked about word of mouth. You're already connected with Meet Boston. Hopefully, they call him John, but Matt Borders, Office of Events and Tourism and whatnot down at City Hall, like that, those connections. Any way I can be helpful, let me know. But
John's great. Yeah, I've been connected with John too, and I think he sees the big vision of like live like a local, like being in all 23 neighborhoods and having a guide like me that cares so much about their community and is able to kind of tell that layered history and support those businesses in those neighborhoods too. It's just about trying to figure out how to get more connected and also building systems too. And I think as an entrepreneur, I think this next 5 years is about growth. It's about building a real team. It's about building systems and making sure that, I can provide, for my tour guides, but also provide for the city of Boston a different look, as far as tourism is concerned. So
absolutely. I just want to go into some of the comments. Getting to Collin. This is from Miss Teresa. Let's connect. I can help you with some big marketing items. Obi, who is saying social marketing is the best marketing. When the neighborhood is speaking your name in places you aren't in, just know, and that's true, brother. Your name is spoken in places that you're not in. Pamela's asking, how can we get tours for kids at BPS? And so Pam runs, if you don't know, she runs the Boston Education Equity Fund. And
she's doing amazing work. Love her. Yeah,
absolute amazing work. But then she's also working with schools that there's a historic piece where, and everybody's trying to spend down their money as much as we're going through budget cuts. That last pump in June to spend down the money. So there may be a way, and I'm talking BPS, not Pam's organization. There may be a way to connect and suggest that the young people can go on tour with you. You get on a bus.
I think that's one of my biggest dreams. I was a BPS kid for a number of years too, before I went off to private school. And when I was at BPS, I felt like the local history wasn't really being taught. Like, we're really learning about a lot of the European history. Not to say that that's not important, but I think, learning about the Melnia Casas and the Ruth Batsons and the Black history of and Latinx history and the Cape Verdean history of these neighborhoods is also very important. And so I just want to be a catalyst, and a conduit to being able to kind of teach them, that history. And it coming from somebody who looks like them too. And being an entrepreneur to let these young people know, hey, this is a business, and like, this is what I do for a living, and I really enjoy this, and you can do something like that too. And so even if a BPS kid or student doesn't want to be a tour guide, they may want to start a business. And also a community-based business, right? Like, where you're working with local community businesses and supporting them and pushing dollars, their way. Like, so what can we do to have more community businesses or base businesses like that?
Absolutely. It might. I tell people all the time, my response often is dictated by your response to the last question. I mean, from, young Black men seeing you, being there, being a positive contributor to society, to wanting to be an entrepreneur, to, I'm sure at some point on that tour, you would tell a little bit of your story as it relates to a particular area. And so they do need to see that. There was something else I was thinking, and it maybe wasn't meant for me to say, because it was a little shady, not towards you or anything, but just, I was about to take a sip. Let's just frame it like that.
All good.
We really need to make sure, y'all, that we get the information out about what this brother is doing. So let me get the website. In the meantime, while I'm getting that ready, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you in just 2 seconds.
For the innovators, the dreamers, the risk takers, independent workers who keep our neighborhoods thriving, Connector Care from the Massachusetts Health Connector has plans for every lifestyle and budget.
Having access to affordable healthcare is for everyone in our community.
Connector Care plans help more people save on healthcare that covers all their needs. Find out if you qualify for Connector Care. Visit mahealthconnector.org or call 1-877-MA-ENROLL.
I'm a very sensitive person, and I feel the pain of my people. They know me. They call on me, and I assure them that I'm not a provider, but I am one who cares. I always say to them, well, it's better to know than not to know, because if you know, you can do something about it. Think about the loved ones around you. Think about the ones that love seeing you come through that door. Take the step and get tested. That's it.
Save lives and get screened for colon cancer. For more information, visit boston.gov/cancer.
Hey everyone, we're back wrapping up with Collin Knight of Live Like a Local Tours Boston, and it's
I
right
know
here.
it's a mouthful for sure.
It is. But there is the website, everybody. I'm also going to go ahead and put it in the comments so you can have the hyperlink to it as well. There we go. And so the hyperlink is hyperlink is in the comments. It is also here for those of you that take screenshots when information is put up. And so one question before we get ready to go, and I know you can speak to this, when we're talking about history, there is a aggressive effort, sir, to erase Black and brown history across the nation. And in Boston, we're okay. It does not negate the fact that there are people that live in this city and maybe on the outskirts that have influence here that don't want that history to still be taught. Just in general, from a historical context, how important is it that that history stays in place, our contributions to America, and you can bring it local to the city as well?
Yeah, I think it's super important. First, starting with that local history, so that these young people can make a connection to where they actually are. And then, reaching out to nationally, when we think about just even the history of Native Americans, even the history of, Asian people within this country, right? Like that stuff is not being told. And, all I can do is start where I am. I'm not, going to get political. Like, I don't know anything about that, but I do know about what I'm doing. And
Yes,
I'm going to start, within these histories, the history of these neighborhoods, right? And start to kind of make sure that we can highlight that and try to work with people who are doing that work. Would love to work with educators, to build curriculums. I've built a curriculum as well based off of the tours or just the Nubian Square tour specifically, and would love to work with some educators to build a curriculum that works. We're talking about the Mass Department of Education is figure out like how we can tell the full story instead of just telling part of it. So that's really important to me. It's not just about these tours. It's about, making sure that there's something that, I can leave, for the next generation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you, man. I think timing is everything, and we worked it out and got you here. I think it's so important as folks are getting ready to plan, summer programming. And again, folks are coming into town for graduation. Get them to sign up for Brother Collin. Don't forget the website right here. It is hyperlinked, so you can go right there, click the link and sign up. He can customize a tour. I really hope you wind up getting a wait list. I hope you get, so you hit me and be like, yo, Jimmy, man, good look, but bruh, we booked all over the place. Like, I know you don't talk like that, but I'm just saying that is the goal. That is the goal.
I appreciate you, man.
Business and really get this brother's information out here. And Obi, I appreciate that point as well. Obi is saying, Mary Skipper, can we get BP? Did he tag her? Can we get BPS to do these tours on a field trip, learn more about their city? Do you know Corey McCarthy?
I do know Corey. Yep.
Reach out to Courtney, and it plugs. He can be a plug to get you into whatever over there. That, because again, these schools and private. I remember one time Metco, contact the Metco office, because one time they reached out to me and asked me, they were coming into Boston just to get an idea of what the students, neighborhood is like, and they asked me to do the tour. And this was years ago. But
we're working with Metco now too, though. It's great. Yeah. So we're going to do a tour with Hingham on May 4th. And so Metco has been, partnering with me over the last couple of years too. So big shout out to MECO too for the work that they're doing. They got a MECO 2.0 program where they're trying to help these districts understand more about why the MECO program is important and why we started this in the first place, why Ruth Batson, pushed for that. And so this is all connected, and like I said, we're really working hard as a community. These organizations are coming together and realizing why a tour like this is so important. So,
Absolutely.
and Pamela, I will definitely email you, and thank you so much. And for everybody, for all the support, and for you, brother, and everything that you've been doing since 2020. This platform is so important, to highlight, entrepreneurs and influencers and people who have been doing such great work. So I want to thank you for all the work you've been doing across the city as well, my brother.
Man, thank you. And we're going to get ready to get you off of here based on that. No, I appreciate you, man. I look forward to seeing you in community. I look forward to how we figure out to do something together intentionally. I have a few ideas, not just limited to the tour, but even around, because my partnership with Long Live Roxbury, there's a history of Black folks in brewing. And also that was the other thing I forgot, that, similar to the marijuana industry, microbreweries and craft beer and whatnot, there are folks out there that look like us that are doing this. There are women out there. We got Uncle Nearest and whatnot, the wonderful sister that's running that. So yeah, man.
Yeah, really. And real quick before we get off, I did a pilot episode of Black Brew Dialogues that could be seen on Hot Forward Equality. It's the Mass Brewers Guild's website, where I did it for Ray Barry in Springfield. And so that episode is really great. So if people want to check that out, it talks a lot about the history that exists.
Say it again. Say where they can find it.
So Hot Forward Equality. It's on the Mass Brewers Guild website.
Brewers Guild website. Okay.
Yep. And so, with Ray Barry of White Lion Brewing, who's one of maybe 12 Black and BIPOC, breweries out of the 300 within the state of Massachusetts. And so that's another thing we're trying to push to make sure that, more people have access to have their own breweries that look like us as well. So please check out that episode too.
Absolutely. And we got to, the church mothers are going to come in. We got a message for your wife. Pastor.
Thank you.
You better speed. You better go back and record that and say, "Hey, baby." Get some shout outs on the show. But no, we really appreciate you. And look. About to
Thank you guys.
Your wife's about to be all right. Thank you, baby. All right. I'm out here, and I appreciate you so much for coming into the room with us this morning. And we'll figure something out as far as to do something together.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Collin. Listen, folks, I hope you enjoyed this good brother that shared so much great information about the space. Pretty soon we'll do some things with Live Long Roxbury around the history. Matter of fact, that's one of the partnerships. Get him to come and teach some of the history. We'll do a panel on the conversation. Maybe he can connect me with some of the Black or BIPOC women-owned breweries here in the Massachusetts area. So interesting event for our mother's board and whatnot. But anyway, Elsa, thank you so much. There is the link. It is hyperlinked. You can go there and find the dialogues that Collin was referring to. And so make sure you get that information. I just want to, for fun, share something with you all this morning. I had the opportunity to go check out the new Grace by Nia in Foxwoods this weekend. And they did auditions for, their events and the club and stuff down there. And when I tell y'all, and this thing better work, it's probably not going to work. And it's not going to work. Of course it's not going to work because it's a different format. When I tell y'all, good God from Zion. So I'll get the file converted over. Just so you all know, there's a whole video. Let me get this up for y'all real quick. Hold on for 1 second, y'all. I beat Alexa to it because in about a few minutes, I forgot what I was getting ready to say. There is a video on YouTube. Let me get it for you, get the link for you all. Over the past year or so, Grace by Nia is actually getting ready to come up on their 1 year anniversary, but I've had the opportunity to be present during the Jam Showcase, Let It Flow, hosting that. And so I put a video together I put a video together a couple of months ago, and so I want to share that with you all. Where is the link? I don't want to embed it. I want to copy it. This is the link for you to go and watch that video. And when I tell you there's some good jazz on there, there is a sister, Good God from Zion, that she sings Marvin Gaye's Cruising Together. And the funny part was, after she sang, I asked her, I said, where do you tap into to sing like that? She looked at me, she said, my trauma. So listen, go check out this video here. Actually, it's funny because the YouTube link comes up on the comment on YouTube, but it's hyperlinked in the comments there. Go check it out. It'll be Alex before Alexa. All right, let me behave. Yeah, there is the link to YouTube to go watch that video. And yeah, stay tuned. We got some things coming down the pike. I also and I hate to hint around stuff, but we're going to need to have a very open conversation. It's going to be after dark, just about some things and some changes and some things going on in reference to the Java Cafe and partnerships and things. And so that is coming soon. I just have to figure it out. Don't forget, this weekend we will not necessarily going live. We may do it from the phone a little bit, but I have the honor of working with the Boston Athletic Association for the, I don't know what year it is, but the running of the Boston Marathon. So Friday evening, co-hosting a panel. Saturday, we're hosting an MC for the Black Unicorns event, where Black and Brown BIPOC folks come together at Roxbury Community College. They have a ceremony. They acknowledge them. This year, they are going to acknowledge one of the runners from across the world that passed away. So that is taking place as well. And then on Sunday morning, I'm doing a podcast recording as well. And these are with some global international folks. And so it's very interesting. Also, keep the date in mind of April 27th, which is a Saturday. We are going live from the Museum of Science. We'll have more information for you coming out about that. But we're going to start doing some things with the Museum of Science very soon as well. So there's some things percolating in the background, folks, and we'll keep you abreast as they go. I did not get a windbreaker yet, Miss Teresa. I'll probably get all that stuff when I get down there, credentials and all that on Friday. So that is it for me this morning. Unable to show you guys the music video that I wanted to, but we'll get it together. And I think that is it. Tomorrow morning, please make sure you plan to join us, coming back to the Java Cafe. I need to get, where's the flyer? For our, that's what I get. We have tomorrow folks coming in for our second Wednesday, Waterfront Wednesdays, coming in tomorrow at 9 a.m. to chat with us about things that they're doing for Earth Day. Earth Day is later on this month. Oh, how many of y'all got to see the eclipse? It was interesting. I saw it 7 years ago, but this year, I don't know what the hype was for some reason. I know it was a nice day and whatever, but was able to get the glasses. Shout out to Portal Innovations. Was able to get the glasses from there. But how many of you all went out and watched the eclipse yesterday? I got some good pictures. Shout out to Brother Newt. Though he has a droid, he got some good pictures, but mine are better. And we'll just leave that right there. I don't know if he's watching. But yeah, we did well. Miss Teresa said, I looked at it and my knees healed not. I ain't messing with y'all. I saw the pictures, Tashad. You out there. I think you were on BPS's roof deck. Pastor Marion said, I watched NBC. Naraki said she wasn't in all the hype. But yeah, it was an interesting experience yesterday. So I'm not sure why, but I will tell you this. I don't know what happened, but I was in bed, called myself taking a nap. So Alexa still dings, but won't announce. That's interesting. All right, I'm getting off of here. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Pastor Drumright, it was cloudy in Nashville, laugh out loud, so we missed most of it, but the glory of God. It was it, and there's a whole bunch of pictures and stuff out there of it, and so it was definitely a lot of hype about it, and folks were doing some interesting things. A lot of traffic going up north. No, we had a good view right here from Roxbury. Very good view. I would show you all a picture, but nope. I Sharon Cornelius. What's all the hype? People that are in the science, the fact that it happens, it's not every so odd years. It's actually the next one is 20 years from now. The last one was 7 years from now. And so it's scientific. It's I'm sure the astrologers had a good time yesterday as well. I'm sure those that, move in some interesting spaces around some things, viewed it differently or whatever. But for me, it was just a little bit of the hype, just everybody talking about it. But I wanted to see it. And I watched it from I got back here at about 2:50. I think the last time I came in the house was about 3. I was going in and out, maybe about 3:40 something when it, kind of stopped. But I will tell you this, the animals, so the birds around here, we got 3 different sets. We got, I don't know what this thing is that chirps at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning without failure. Then we got the regular birds during dawn. Then at dusk, at 5 o'clock, we have another set of birds that chirp. And so, but they started chirping as soon as it got ready to get dark, the 5 set of birds. So it was interesting. They say animals fall asleep and their circadian clock and all of that. The melanin starts to get released real quick because the sun went down. So anyway, just a little bit of history about the eclipse and some context. Auntie Java, make connection. It was after Easter Resurrection Sunday when the earth went black while Christ was on the cross. Never heard. No, I ain't gonna, let me think. I don't want to lie. It was a Sunday after. I don't know, Auntie. Tashad, I don't know what happened. I woke up at first 1:46. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. A couple of people said it. It wore them out. Miss Teresa said the hood birds. You should see the squirrels around here, Miss Teresa. It's crazy. All right, I'm getting off of here. Y'all, UCB folks are trying to, get y'all hour. From my understanding, it's when the Earth's shadow passes in front of the moon, as opposed to the solar eclipse where the moon passes in front of the sun. I might be wrong on the date. It's something like that. Circadian rhythm, all jacked up. Absolutely. Yes, Miss Teresa, the squirrels. Folks, we will see you tomorrow morning with Boston Waterfront Coalition sponsored Waterfront Wednesdays. We will hear from folks that are moving for Earth Day. Don't forget on also Thursday, Just Jimmy. So we're going to catch up. We'll get the videos ready with the music and stuff. We'll catch up with what went on last weekend down at Foxwoods. And yeah, that's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pam said, don't be startled at around 1:30 today. Red Sox open. Oh, yes. Because I remember a couple of years ago, or even last year, people were like, what the hell? We're under attack, blah, 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 blah. Pam, thank you so much. You going? So if you hear noise today at 1:30, be not afraid. It is just a flyover for the Red Sox opening day. All right. So thank you. You found that out here on your community-based platform. You have a great too, friend. Good to see you in the room. Tashad said, oh, I forgot about opening day. I'm not going. I ain't that connected. Obi, don't get me started. All right. Definitely for sure getting off of here. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with the Boston Waterfront Coalition for Waterfront Wednesdays. Have a great day, everybody, and we shall talk soon.